Hi, I think I accidentally ended the group. I'm so sorry. We have 10 minutes to go and Maria wants to know how to save this painting. So I've given you, sorry guys, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Let's look at a different approach and I will share this so that you'll be able to watch it later, okay? So, hi Meg, everybody's back. Sorry, that was me, fat fingers, pressed the button. I'm gonna flip this back down and I'm gonna show one more way of fixing this. So, I'm gonna turn this like that and I'm going to suggest, what if, let me get rid of that, what if she were to change, make sure we're still in here, what if she were to change the direction? I'm just going to close these and see if I can read the text. There we go, I'm back at live. There we go. Okay, so what if we were to change part of this painting? So this is something that I often do when I want to change something, is I usually give it a horizon and then leave the rest of the painting. So what if she were to offset that and just add a piece of collage? So if she's willing to get rid of some of this painting, wouldn't it look interesting? I'm just cutting it down so that we don't have this white border. Wouldn't it be interesting to maybe add a section of collage and play with colors? So, or paint. And how does that look in terms of your painting? Well, let's see. I'm just going to trim this up so that we have, because this is a piece of scrapbook paper, we can play with a couple different colors. But I'm often one to change our perspective a little bit. So I don't like that. I do like that more. And then I have to remove some of this. I'm trying to keep the scale the same. So you can see I played with the yellow, wasn't that thrilled on it, but what if I change that? Okay, that's looking more interesting. And then what if within that space she did something more? This is my cutout from Friday's class. I'll just put part of it on top. And then what if she played around with a bit more contrast to see how it works? I'm often one to just rip little bits of collage to see how that fits, see how that works. Maybe a bit dark. But now down here, what if she were to eliminate the darkness by making it lighter? So I'm going to try to find a piece of paper that I can rip to put in its place. But what if she were to use, and I'm not suggesting only using paper, I'm just suggesting that it's easiest for me to show you. I'll just use some white paper and I'll tear little bits. What if she were to change the contrast within this and just leaving some small little bits and pieces, maybe of what was there before? And you see how now there's a relationship between the top and the bottom, which is interesting. We could even put in a neutral in here. Nope, I don't like that either. But you see how we're just changing a little bit of that, getting rid of that fancy little swirly background. And then using some other paints, she would apply a bit more perspective and interest into the flower. And I'll just do that maybe using some crayons. Let me grab some crayons to illustrate that. There, I'll use my soft pastels. Okay, so let me get rid of all those because I can do this with soft pastel, I think, just as easily. So, of course I don't have a white, so let's go with another color. What if she were to eliminate much of this background and just neutralize it, right? So neutral being the operative word here, because right now it's in direct competition because of the value. So once we change that, and all we've done is added a bit more interest at the top, we've kind of chopped that. So adding a bit more of that color up here will also make this a bit more interesting. Okay, so now let's add a bit of color to the flower. And when I'm talking color, let's be bold here and let's do a couple crazy things. So Maria, obviously, in Encaustic, has the opportunity to go in and create some interesting things, because then she can use a patina to unify it. So it's not going to look as wild as my little soft pastel mix up here. But you can see that by adding some color, that I'm making you look at the center. I'm making this thing pop and come alive. Let's use some different colors. And then I don't want to ignore the top altogether. So I can add a bit of this color to the top, or, and I'm going to go and put those things back on, or I can use, if I can find a gray, I don't really see a very good gray in my pastel selection. But I could also add some of that top color so it's not entirely foreign. And then now see what happens. So now I've added this level of interest, like that bird, right? That bird that was in the that painting that I did, that I showed you. So this is a combination of everything. So this has, now, it has the color from the first one, right? The random colors, which bring it together. It has the neutralized background from the barn, and then from the third one in the bird, it has the highlights that I want you to look at, but most importantly, it has this other separation band which takes you out of this and then into that, which, because this is sort of nondescript, makes you look at that. Alternatively, no, not alternatively, in addition to, you can also increase your composition by taking and this is a great little line because I happen to have this right here. I can pull these things together by making you look through the painting with a vertical line. So now I've created like this cross of the same dark color and tones, which is bringing you through the painting. Let's bring some of that in here. You like my smeary mess? So this is a combination of all those techniques which sort of are there to rescue the painting, if you will. But all I really did with that This is even a more neutral top. All I really did with that was using the composition scale. I just managed to balance things out, and then using this way, and then using the value scale, we just pulled it all together. So when you look at here in the crop, this one is really one of my favorite ones, and overlap, but have the objects go off the page. So having our objects run off the page, just like that barn right at the trees, is really good to keep you, like her leaves, keep you moving through the painting. But then having some overlapping of your elements also keep you moving through the painting, but then not having your heaviest objects on that border, which were just keeping you stuck. We're able to move it all around. So I'm going to flip the camera around. Hello everybody. All right, Maria, so your challenge now is to try and do something with all of that information. So once you understand though how to analyze your own paintings and how to pick them apart in terms of dissecting them, you should be able to move past the problems we have when it comes to reworking and reworking and reworking and reworking, and you know, and that sort of thing with a painting. So when you look at your composition, always analyze in terms of dark and light. Draw it out, map it out. This is where my darks are, this is where my lights are, where's my eye going? Just use this and see. Well, that's why it's not working, because I've got all my darks which are just like sucking me in, and I have no lights to balance it out. So you just need to identify what it is you want the people to look at, what you want your viewer to look at, and then fool the eye and train the eye to go there. So, and you do that with value, okay? So it's high and low value all the time. So think of that dark bird, or sorry, think of the dark painting with the bird in it. The whole background is dark, and then the bird was dark, but the bird had some highlights that made you look exactly at the bird. So I thank you all for watching, and I hope Maria can do something other than start over, because I hear that so often. People just start over with their paintings. I admit I abandon paintings all the time. But if I can just rescue it with a bit of composition and a bit of strategy, then generally it just feels so much better, and it's always more, what's a good way of putting it? Anyway, it doesn't matter. The reality is you guys can get there. Just analyze your own paintings, figure out where the highs are, the lights are, the darks, all that stuff. And join me tomorrow for, what did we decide tomorrow was? Tomorrow is Technique Tuesday. So tomorrow we're going to work on integrating our collage images a little better. So I'm going to bring in, or that's what I'll do. I'll actually cut out an image, and then I'll show you how it can look really just stuck on, and then how you can easily overwork it, which sometimes a lot of times we do, and then how to just integrate it really softly so that they don't look like they've been stuck on. A lot of you have been struggling with that, or so you've been telling me, so let's deal with that tomorrow on Technique Tuesday. Okay, bye everybody.